So why not have Israel be the place where they can clean their own floors and grow their own food? That's all I'm saying. Because my favorite Jews are Israelis. I know many Israelis that say they know Jewish janitors. You know, I used to be a janitor. And when people say, I'm not saying who said this, because I still think he's a good guy and I don't like starting rumors, but someone recently was like, because I pointed out he was saying something, he's famous. You guys know him. But he doesn't deserve any of this heat. But I pointed out that something very bad was invented by Jewish people, and he said, yeah, well, Jewish people are smarter, so they invent a lot of stuff.
Marx, Freud, Einstein, communism, infantile sexuality, and the atom bomb.
Being really smart doesn't make you parasitic. It doesn't mean, like, just because you're really smart doesn't mean you immediately think, how do I steal from people? So anyway, it's good to say what you think. People think that this is going to get me killed, right? I'll show you what gets you killed. 19-year-old Parkland school shooting survivor Sydney Aiello has died. Aiello's mother confirmed that her daughter died by suicide over the weekend. She said her daughter had suffered from survivor's guilt and PTSD. Interesting. Father of Sandy Hook shooting victim found dead of apparent suicide. Same weekend. Judge overseeing Jeffrey Epstein's related suit dies. Same weekend. Odd. The point I'm trying to make is, when you're involved in the manipulation of the narrative, where you have to keep someone's secrets, the people killing these people, suiciding these people, it's, they're not just psychopaths. They're not like, oh, Owen Benjamin pisses me off, I'm going to go kill him. No, they literally think, who knows the scam? I don't know the scam. One of my saving graces, I think, because I used to think I was going to be murdered, and I'm apparently not. One of my saving graces is I don't harbor people's secrets. Okay, like when someone commits a crime, let's say you commit a bank robbery and you have 3 people helping you, right? When you leave the bank and you keep the money and you get away with it, and then you start thinking, when Brian drinks, he kind of tells everybody, you got to kill that guy. That's why criminal organizations take out their own. They take out their own. You know, so people involved in hoax shootings or doctored minimum, like I think Parkland happened. I just think it was doctored. It was created. You know, it was allowed to happen. And the people that know that, now that the Russia collusion hoax, the biggest conspiracy theory in history, like fake conspiracy theory in history, and I'm about to get to some people that have pissed me off, but now that the world is woken up to just how much the media lies and how much of this is bullshit, it's a very vulnerable time for the oligarchs. They have to kill their stooges. Because people are now capable of believing Parkland was doctored. Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz District, Broward County, exactly. You know, David Hogg's father is in the FBI. The response time was 40 minutes late. You know, the kid looks all MK Ultra'd out. There's a lot of problems with it. You know, the sheriff, like they had the narrative ready to go. CNN was there immediately. It's just, these kids have been weaponized into gun confiscation. It's just total. I'm not saying people didn't die, but I'm saying that, you know, when you watch the Christ Church massacre from America, it's obvious. Yes, people died. Yes, it was for a very specific reason. It's false flag. People don't understand that false flag doesn't mean it didn't happen. False flag doesn't mean that like those were all crisis actors. It just means that something was carried out to have another effect. You know, like Pearl Harbor happened. FDR knew it was going to happen. FDR pulled 3 aircraft carriers out the week it was happening after he got the encrypted messages that it was happening because he wanted to get in the war. Now, did the sailors die? Yes. Did the Japs do it? Yes. That's what a false flag is. A false flag doesn't mean like, fake blood everywhere. And Parkland was blatantly, and when people call me a conspiracy theorist, it's like, well, you believed in Russia collusion for 2 years. It almost toppled our nation. And there was no evidence. And now there's been proof that there's no evidence. So, like Matt Walsh, who I always liked his show, he's a show. I don't know if he's a show. He might just be retarded. Even Prison Planet, I like that dude too. I like him. I like that guy. But like, they're like, okay, the Russia collusion, it's a conspiracy theory, just like, the moon landing. And I'm like, well, seeing as we didn't go to the moon, it's nothing like the moon landing, and I would debate any of these shills any day of the week. That's when I know someone's a liar, is when they won't even debate me. When they're like, I would never stoop so low to you. I'm like, I've been in 5 movies. I was on a sitcom for 3 years. I've had 3 Comedy Central specials. I've toured the nation with Vince Vaughn, Julio Iglesias, everybody. I'm a successful YouTuber. I'm a family man. People like me. People know me. I've done all kinds of left, right, up, down, everything. If you don't think I have the credentials, Matt Walsh, all that means is you put someone in a little hole because you can't argue their points. So, any evidence PJW is a shill? No. I like him. Someone just said so humble. Well, now you're banned for life. I would have members only, but YouTube took that from me and stole $50,000 from me. The same week that Alex Jones wouldn't let me on the show because I mocked Jews. Gee, I wonder who rules over us. We went to the moon. It's how we got there. That's a conspiracy. Any evidence? All the evidence says that we faked the moon landing. There's no evidence that we went to the moon. We may have gone to the moon. People don't understand how logic works. I cannot prove that we never went to the moon. I can, however, prove that what we were told by NASA is, by the way, guys, it's really hard to prove a negative. Like when Kavanaugh had to prove that he didn't rape someone without knowing when, where, or who, or even the month it happened, and still almost did it with his journals. It's almost impossible to prove a negative. It's easy to prove we never went to the moon. There's no technological capability. Even just the live feed from the moon, the fact that NASA claims we no longer have the technology because we destroyed it and it's too painful to bring it back. The fact they destroyed all the telemetry data for no reason and then lied about it. The fact all the moon rocks came from Earth, provably, that these idiots gave to other countries. One was petrified wood, and they all contain traces of brass, which is a man-made metal. There, you can watch the astronauts unable to even come up with the same story of whether or not they could see the stars. Might want to get your story down first, guys. The frigid temperatures and the blazing heat of space would not be like when Apollo whatever lost its environmental controls, and it was just this paper thin piece of whatever between them and a vacuum of infinite coldness or heat. They'd all be dead immediately. And also space junk, one screw going 20,000 miles an hour would go right through it, and I don't even have to talk about and right now we couldn't do a live broadcast from the moon. It's not possible. The film wouldn't survive the Van Allen belt. They're on tape doctoring a video. Neil Armstrong was not allowed to give an interview for 40 years after he blatantly looked like he was lying. Buzz Aldrin admitted to a little girl we never went to the moon and then kind of took it back 10 minutes later. A lot of murders, too. A lot of suicides. Buzz Aldrin's mother's maiden name was Moon, and she committed suicide right before Buzz went to the moon. Agree to disagree. We went to the moon many times. You can't just say agree to disagree. NASA, which gets $58 million a day. And by the way, when people say, why would we even go back to the moon? There's nothing there. You have scientists from the 60s saying it would be the greatest place to have a scientific station imaginable. No atmosphere. You can do tests. You can see things that you would never see. You would have golf tournaments, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 1/6 the gravity. They did not act 1/6 the gravity one bit. The rovers would not have driven that way. Each rover cost the taxpayers $60 million in 1970s money. Every president has said that we would go back and then failed. Even our private sector has failed. No other country has ever went back to the moon. And the number one argument that people have that we went to the moon is there are reflectors on the moon. Look, I can prove it. There's a reflector on the moon. Makes no sense. So no technology, no other country followed in our footsteps. We deleted all the evidence. We were absolutely incapable of live broadcasting with that amount of energy or technology from the moon then or now. The moon rocks all had elements of earth in it, or they were petrified wood. And then all people say then is secret space program. Okay, let's fill me in on the secret. Hang on, someone said he has a 147 IQ, guys. Don't question his logic. Now you're banned. No, why don't you question my logic? How about this? Ready? Name one other time in history that technology has went in reverse. Since 1900 until now. Name one other time in history where you had technology in 1969 that you no longer have now. I mean, I'm not even specifying that it has to do with aeronautics or, guidance systems, rocket systems. Guys, look at a cruise missile and then compare it with the Saturn V rocket. Okay? Technology is advanced to a degree that you can't imagine. And yet they're saying that we can't go back because we no longer have the technology. What about the calculations? Apparently it was one black woman that did it by hand. This is from NASA. It was one black woman. They did a movie about her. Did it by hand, and now they can't find it. Okay, what about the telemetry data? 1 ton of data was reused. So when people say, oh, the tape, it didn't have any value, the technology advanced. A, that's ironic to say that technology advanced when their main argument is that we no longer have the technology. B, they reused it because they said they had budgetary problems in the 70s. Even though they got, 20 border security walls a year with no more space programs. Hang on, someone said,